Welcome back to the MegaBee. I got the motors installed. Now let's go ahead and get these soldered up. I've got it set to about 725 degrees, or about 380. I'm going to bump it up to 400 Celsius, and then we'll go ahead and get these guys soldered into place. I think I'm just going to leave these the original length, because that's kind of what it looks like I did before, at least for these rears, because the flight controller is in the front, and so it's just a little bit easier if I don't mess with it. And hopefully you guys can see okay. I'm doing the second one on motor 4. Well, it says motor 4, but it's really motor 1 because of the way the ESC is mounted up. And 2. And then I'll just go in order on the next ones. And, there we go. And 2, number 2. Yeah, it seems like a waste taking it all off just to put them right back on, but you know, I'm glad I did, because it would have been just that much more of a pain to do everything without mucking with the wires and everything else. So I'm glad I took them all off, put them all back on. You know, it's a couple extra minutes of work, but in the end it's peace of mind, not worrying about, oh, did I screw that up or muck with that. And it's really not that tough to put motor wires back on. And it gave me a chance to remount the flight controller exactly the way I wanted it. And gave me a chance to remount the the flight controller and the ESC exactly the way I wanted them. So that's good. Hopefully I can get Betaflight convinced about the orientation of the flight controller, because believe it or not, I don't think I've ever actually played with that. So, maybe once. Yeah, maybe once. I think I mounted my Kakute board a little funky in my Catalyst Machine Works America build, and I really don't recall why off the top of my head. At least I think that's the one. I could be wrong. Alright, we are coming down to it. One left. Let's see here. I can't move it about just a little bit. And squeak this guy in. Get up just a little higher. And boom. Yep, that looks pretty darn good, you ask me. Let's say we're cooking with gas. Okay. Let's do the Bardwell test here. What that is checking for continuity between the ground and positive on your battery connector. And if you get continuity, it's a bad sign, because that means something is touching. But I don't have anything there. Good. No continuity on those pins, which means that if I connect up this guy here to this, we should be able to power it up. Connect up the antennas real quick so we don't burn this thing out. Alright, now let's double check. You can't be too careful. You really can't. Now, here. You know, I swear. Looks good. I'll call that one done. But I'm still going to use a smoke stopper, and let's see here. I think I have a let's see what we got here. This guy. Use that guy. We will power it from this guy for that. And that. And check this guy. Yep. Okay. Okie dokie. Here we go. Let's go ahead and power up our goggles and make sure everything is set. Okay. And now I'm just going to make sure everything's ungrounded there. Hey, look at that. It's not even cracked. I dig it. I don't know if you guys can see that down there. Okay, well, maybe something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But I got a picture. That's all that matters. And that means it's probably okay. So I heard buzzing from the ESCs, but did I hear all the buzzing? Okay, that checks out. This guy doesn't want to turn. Okay, he's twitchy. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that. I think we're good. And unplug my DJI. Oh, I love these goggles. Groovy. So, successful test of the unit itself, which means that we are in the clear to put it back together. So let's go ahead and start in on that process right now. We got this guy. We'll go ahead and disconnect him. Alright, I'm going to call it here actually. I think I'm done for the tonight. I will finish this up tomorrow and we'll take it for a quick test flight, and then I'll start editing the video from some of my other quads. Alright, thank you. I may have actually lost some footage. My other camera seems to have stopped recording at some point, so who knows how much you'll actually see of me installing this flight controller and board. So we have a bit of a dilemma. The screws come up just a tiny bit too far. I don't know if you can kind of make that out there, but they're just a little bit too long. So I started thinking about it and thought about it some more and some more and some more. And I thought about grinding them down, and I thought about a couple other things, and finally I just decided to flip them over. Yep. Flip them over. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip these screws over so they're not quite so tall, and hopefully that gives me just enough room to get this to work. And we're also going to take off the DJI unit completely here. Come on out of there. Okay, good. And we're switching out these standoffs for ones that are marginally more taller. I mean, we're talking like a couple millimeters here, but should be just enough to get it to so that it's no longer rubbing against the flight controller. Push this one out too. Oh, come on now. Yeah, they fit on there kind of snug. Okay, and up is that way. Good. And here are the longer ones. Let's not screw this up by putting on short ones back. Okay, we are getting close here, like that part. And then I'll dump these guys back in this bucket. See, I've got one black one, two black ones, three black ones. The camera probably sees it. Everyone at home is probably like, there it is! Alright, just to make sure. Yes, 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 and yes. So I'm just making sure that I've got the long ones installed. And now this guy here, I need to hold. I'm just going to use my forceps for this. I think those will work fine. Yes, this guy here. Okay. We'll back out this screw right here and flip it over. And then I may put a dollop of Loctite on it at the bottom, just to keep that nut and washer or nut on. Because I feel like that would be the smart thing to do. And hopefully this will give me just enough space that I don't need to fight with it anymore. And screw this guy down. Of course I have it sitting on top of okay. And then we'll unpinch that. And then we'll take this guy. And yeah, you can see there's 3 or 4 millimeters of extra length there. I don't know if that even shows up very well on that. But you can kind of see right there, 3 or 4 millimeters of extra length is just too much for it. Coming out of the top anyway, so we'll put it on the bottom and what is this? 3-letter blue, medium strength. I'll just give it a little dab. That's way too much. Little dab will do ya. And this is a metal nut here. If I were smart, I'd probably put nylocks on it, but that's okay. We'll just use a little thread locker. And we're done. Okay, put this top back on. Flip it back over. Yep. So now the screw head is actually below level of the connector. That is exactly what we want. And then on the bottom I'm just going to have some feet here to keep it from grinding on that little guy. It's actually how I did it before, was I just stuck a couple of little foam pads here to keep it up off the frame when I landed and stuff. So yep, that'll work out great. At least I think so. So let's get the rest of these guys. Let's do these catty corner. That seems to be the best way to me. Still recording good. Yeah, I am not happy with my camera setup here. Actually, I really like my face cam. The only downside to my face cam is that it doesn't allow me a external microphone. So it's just this Sony cheap camera that I got at Best Buy for 200 bucks. I mean, it's really not a high-end camera at all. And it only does 1080p, but it does it at 60 frames a second, I think. So, which is more than enough for a face cam anyway. It's not like you need to see a ton of detail, at least of my ugly mug. So that I feel is pretty good. And then I bought off eBay a 4K Lumix. It's a G7 and it randomly stops recording. So I have an external Comica mic on it, and that's what I normally use for everything, you know, my sound wise, and that's just because it blocks out the sound of the AC and sound of my charger over here and a couple other things. Yeah, and it works all right. It does okay. It's been hacked, so it records the full as much as you want. Normally cameras, like things marketed as cameras, not video cameras, are only allowed by law, or I don't know, writ, I don't really know, to record for 30 minutes. And this one records for longer than that, depending on, of course, your card. And so that's one of the things that attracted me to it, was that it could be hacked, and that the previous owner had actually hacked it and used it for that. And so I like that about it. But I don't like that it just stops recording, doesn't alarm or beep or do anything special unless the card is full. So if the card's full, it does those things, but if it just stops because it crashed or something else, I don't know. And I have it set up so that it's connected to a 4K monitor. But as soon as I hit the record button, the 4K goes dark. So it can't display 4K and record 4K at the same time. So it's really, really annoying. And that's, you know, just what I've been kind of struggling with, is getting it so that it's not annoying me. And I've come to the conclusion that next year, when I get my tax money or my bonus or whatever it happens to be, I think I'm going to buy a professional 4K camera. You know, I think I'm just going to get a film camera, because they make 4/3 cameras that do. They make 4/3 cameras. This is micro 4/3. Hi, Emma. They record nice video. You're coming down here in your underwear.
Oh.
You probably don't want to be on YouTube in your underwear, baby. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, now why don't you go back upstairs?
Guys, I'm gonna show you something.
What are you gonna show me?
This.
Yeah.
We have my phone back.
Yes. Well, you have a phone upstairs. I'll charge that one back up, and we'll talk about it.
Hey, look at that phone. You have to shake it up to make lines with it. See that?
Okay, Emma, I can't actually record a video while you're here.
Okay.
Alright, well, let's just get this back together. Emma, please go back upstairs. Thank you, Emma. Take the doggy with you. Say, Lucy! Take her back upstairs. She's behind you, Emma.
What?
Go back upstairs.
I don't know.
Thank you. All right. Kids. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I was thinking about getting a nice professional quality 4/3 cinematic camera that can really capture the small stuff that I'm doing. Because I have a 14mm lens that works well, and it's what I'm using right now on my Lumix, but it's great, and it'll fit this new camera that I'm looking at. The camera's $800, so it's not cheap. I'd rather spend that on drones, but at the same time, I've got a ton of drone stuff just sitting in this corner, and I want to film it all because I really like, you know, filming it and showing it to people, because I love building and I love watching people build. So it just seemed like a natural extension to expand upon that and do my own build videos. and I try to show everything. I don't rush it. I don't jump scene to scene. I mean, you've seen my other videos, I'm sure. And so, you know, if that gets old or nobody likes it or whatever, that's fine. It's just, you know, that's the style I've chosen to go with. And I mean, you can take what I do and condense it down to probably 15 or 20 minutes of good video, but anyone can do that, and that isn't me. I don't like rushing, and I like watching all the little movements and things people do. There's this guy who works on grandfather clocks, and to watch him work, he does more edits than I do, granted, but to watch him work, you just see like, oh wow, why did he do it like that? How did he hold that in place? You know, like you become this sort of expert after long time doing things, and you don't really realize that you're doing something, that you've gained this skill that somebody else might actually really like to see in use. You know, like just the way you've chosen to, you know, hold something, or, you know, I'll give you another example. There's another YouTuber called Big Clive, and he takes things apart and tells you, it does wiring diagrams on them, and they're electrical related stuff, right? So he takes it and he shows you, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the innards of your electronic devices. And he's a lighting guy from the UK, Isle of Man, I think, or something like that, right? So he gets around, he sees a bunch of stuff, and people send him weird little electronic devices, and he buys weird little electronic devices on eBay and Amazon for like ridiculously little money. And so, you know, he's got this following of people that really likes to see what he does. But he's able to hold, one of the things that he does is he holds like a PCB in his hand, okay, and then he'll hold solder. Like he'll manipulate solder and components and things. Like with one hand, he'll be working the iron, and the other he'll be, you know, going from pad to pad to pad with the soldering iron. It's really, really impressive stuff. And just that technique has actually really helped me with, you know, soldering up boards like this. It's really been very useful. You know, when you actually look at sort of the things that you end up getting use out of, it's quite useful being able to see somebody else's soldering technique and then adapt it for the type of work that you're doing. So it's, you know, not directly related, but it's tangential, and it's, oh, fuck. Of course, this stuff is like sloppy, because it's old. It's not coming out like a goo shmoo. And this is only blue thread locker. It's medium strength. It's not the red. And it's done with the green because we don't need high heat related stuff. And we're gonna tighten this guy. Nope. No, this guy here. I swear they should label these, color code them, something. Alright, I guess that'll work. Still kind of floppy and loose, huh? Is it because it's bottomed out? You know what? I do not like that. No. I think this is too long. Yeah, it bottomed out. That's what happened. That's in there. Okay. So no, those guys are too long. That's not a problem. We'll get them straightened out. Get these shorter ones in there. I've got a ton of these guys floating around. Alright, put a little dab on. A little dab will do you. Don't need much. And then tighten these guys up till it puckers a little bit, and that's done. Job done. And then work this guy out a bit. Yeah, we're just about there. We've got this thing just about ready to button up. Probably looking right at a screw that would work. Okay, get this guy up through there, put a little dab on it. Good Lord, making a mess over here. This stuff is basically CA glue, by the way. Don't get it on anything plastic or else it will stain it. The certain types of polycarbonates will dissolve under CA, so you need to be very, very careful when working with it. I've ruined models and other things, especially glasses or translucents, because translucents are mostly polycarbonates, by gluing or trying to glue or gluing near them. I mean, seriously, it's nasty stuff. So just beware that the cyanoacrylic glass, the cyanoacrylic CA glue, is very bad for certain types of plastics, especially polycarbonates, and avoid them. And same thing with stuff like brake cleaner. Brake cleaner will do the exact same thing to stuff. So beware spraying it around polycarbonates. It will cloud them and dissolve them, and you will be very regretful that you ever used brake cleaner around them. Alright, there. That is looking much better. I like that. We are going to take this guy for a second and grab our DJI air unit. We're going to stick it on the bottom and put some screws in it, because I think that will help get us to the next step. We want the front to the front, and this should go like so. Yep, like that. And I want to grab the 3 mils. Actually, I can use these longer ones for this purpose, I think. yeah, might as well. So I'm not using them for shorts, and they're not going to interfere with anything by being a little extra long. Oh, come on. Get on in there. You know I'm going to regret using these long ones now. It never fails. You know? Like, why did you use the long ones? Numbskull. Can't you see that they're going to interfere with blah, blah, blah? Hindsight is always 20/20, you know? That's what I say. That's what they say. Yeah, I do like this kit. I like the fact that the air unit is kind of mounted upside down. I have this mounted wrong. Alright. But, the nice thing is, I can just take off this one side and flip it over. Like so. Yeah, the antenna... no, that's wrong too. The antenna ports need to go towards the rear and on the bottom, or else you cannot fit this guy up in here. Yep. So to show on cam, hopefully you can see, these antenna ports needed to be to the rear and the camera to the front, and I had it flipped. I had this flipped over, so that's what I fixed just now. Yep. Good to make sure we got everything the right way around before we go any further. And look how close the screws are to our antennas. Yeah, I might have made a mistake. We'll see. We'll see. I'd rather have these button tops than the cap heads here, just because the battery pack sits across this top. And I usually run this guy with an 850 on it. A lot of people recommend 1,000 milliamp hour. And those work too. I don't own any right now. Alright. We've got that part done. We are going to situate this guy. And this guy needs to go down over these pegs. Like so. Until it slides down. And then we can angle it a little bit. Like so. And then we'll set this guy back. We'll take the connector towards the rear a little bit. And what do we got? Here's what we got. So these longer standoffs gave me just enough clearance to cover this connector. This connector is the high point, and you can just see that this air unit slides past it, so just barely. And if we'd been up any higher, like from those screws, then we'd have been hosed. Let's see if I can show this with the other camera a little bit. Just a little bit of a, yeah. And then on this side you've got that guy. So, yep, not a lot of space in there. Hopefully that wasn't all blurry and out of focus. Okay, and then we have these guys that mount, and it mounts so that this is the the bottom? No. I wonder if they changed this design at all. Nope, they didn't. Same design. Yeah, I'm just looking at it, trying to figure out if I want it mounted like this or near the bottom, like that. Well, it doesn't have through holes, so I'm going to mount it at the top. Yeah. That's right. It's a little funky. So is everything else with this build. Yep. It's a little bit funky. So I'm just going to connect this guy and then zip tie it where I want it to go. Let's do this in camera. So I was just looking at it, and it looks a lot like this guy right here. Yeah, it's going to go like that. And then we'll just set her. I'm going to zip tie it up in a minute. And then this guy will go here. And this guy will go right here. Okay, come on. Okay. And then just kind of set her down on that plate. Yep, like so. Yep. Let's get a couple of screws for this guy from the box. And use these. There's 3. And 4. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll worry about all of our wires in just a second. We'll get everything tucked neatly inside, and then we'll start thinking about our ducks and our props. Okay, here, let's take these guys in a little bit. 1 and 2. 1 and a 2. Yeah, the nice thing about, so now, because we mounted this up the way we did, we have clear access to our USB port back here. So now we can run our cable straight in. We don't have to worry about taking our ducts off or anything else. That's one of the big reasons I wanted to flip this guy around. And then the other thing is getting it so that I didn't have to muck with these the flight controller too much, and get that all straightened out, and hopefully we've got everything wired up right. And we did I think I showed an on-screen power up yesterday using a smoke stopper. When in doubt, use a smoke stopper. Actually, always use a smoke stopper on your bench. There's really no reason not to. It's not like you're going to power them, spin them up. Okay, get those guys tightened down a little bit. Good, that feels good. Okay, let's make sure we don't have anything pinched. Everything looks really, really good. This guy is a little bit wonky here. It's kind of pushing into. I'm gonna lift it. Gonna lift up the rear and fix this antenna cable that's been pushed to the outside. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take it off. Come on, get inside. There we go. Now we're back. Back in business. Yeah, always a good idea to check it before you wreck it. Good. Good, 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 good. And then we'll that and that done. And okay. Put our cable up through here. Oh, come on. Don't fight me on this. And then, okay, quick test. Just double check, flat and flat, and we got good noises. That's always a good sign. All right. Get this guy buttoned up like so. Get this guy over here like so. We'll just tuck it in there. Tuck it up top where it should hang out neatly, and stay out of our way. Yep. We'll just zip tie that right to the top there. That should be fine. Doesn't need any special treatment. Then the other wire is this guy, and that's the video wire. And we'll just kind of swirl it around inside there until it's happy. And that looks pretty good. And then we'll tuck these wires down like that. These wires back like this. And we should be good for ducks at this point. Yeah, I do like these ducks, even though they're not TPU. Again, you can find the STLs on Thingiverse. So just type in there, iFlight ducks, and you can print out some TPU versions of this. This actually says on the side, PLA version 4.1, V4.1. And the way these mount up is with screws up from the bottom, I believe. Yeah, little flats coming up from the bottom, or button heads coming up from the bottom, and a couple of nylocks, and that'll hold it in place, keep it nice and steady. And I have props that are, these were the originals that were on the thing, and I cleaned them up just a little tiny bit, but they are perfect in every way. So they didn't take any damage from the fall, despite everything. They didn't take any damage from the fall. And I think these are Gemfan ducted props. Yeah, these are Gemfan. God, what does that say? D75R. And yeah, so these must be like 75 millimeter or something. But they're ducted. I guess that's what the D stands for. So, and let's get this guy here, and then we will take it over and get the we'll take it over, get Betaflight 4.1 put on it, get the flight controller oriented correctly in Betaflight, and then we'll go run a test run. So this next part is just me doing nothing but putting these ducks on. So not terribly interesting. This build is basically done at this point. Checks out on with the smoke stopper, so I'm not too worried. We should be able to get this thing up in the air and fly it around today. So alrighty. Thanks for watching. Alright, after a couple of false starts, I managed to get this guy flying. I actually only had a 1550 battery charged up for this. This is what I'd normally fly on, like a 5-inch quad. So it's way too heavy for this little rig. But I had it available, and just wanted to make sure that this thing flew, that I had my props on right, that I'm going to be taking this and flying around my dad's house in a couple of weeks. He lives out in the country, so I wanted something that looked nice, that flew well. I may end up taking a different drone with me, but overall, thing flew great. Came back together. Doesn't seem to have any problems with the motors or anything after the big crash. I mean, that fall. I'll take a picture of the broken the broken frame that came off that silo, and show it. But it was quite the fall, and for it to be flying again, all the same equipment, except for a motor, I'm really impressed with it. So, and the DJI held up great, so can't complain. So I had a fun time with this rebuild. Actually, I had a fun time putting it together in the first place, and had fun flying it around the park. The one time I actually got to fly it, and then after I crashed it, I was really bummed out about it. I thought about just buying a bottom plate and doing it, but I figured, why not just get all the parts, buy the iFlight package again and just be done with it. So that's what I did. And then I stuck it in a drawer and pretty much forgot about it until I was like, oh yeah, I should, I saw the Nerks videos about running around with a cinematic, and I was like, I should really put that thing back together. And then I was like, my wife mentioned, oh yeah, you should probably go fly it around your dad's house. And I was like, well, there's all the incentive I need to finally put it all back together, and I think it came together great. I'll get and post some flight video. That's my dog being an asshole. I'll get some flight video of me flying it around my dad's house, and I'll post that separate on the channel. But if you want to see any more builds like this, or I got a bunch of micros coming up still. I've only done one out of like 8 I think I have scheduled, so I don't have like a real fixed schedule or anything, but you know what I mean. I got tons of parts and tons of stuff to do, so looking forward to getting those together. The next one on the bench is actually another DJI. So a DJI 3-inch, or I'm sorry, it's actually going to end up being a 2-inch on an HX 115 frame. So that I couldn't get the 2.5-inch props to work on that. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. And after that, it'll be the Cream Puff, which is a super light 1S 3-inch build. And I don't remember what comes after that, but I'm pretty sure it's like a it's the 4S SpinTech. That's what's coming after that. So that's my plan anyway. I'm going to try and get those all built this month and try to get them edited and put out on the channel before the new year. I actually have a family vacation coming up, so we'll see how that works, or if it works. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching.